All right, so let's get started here. All right, so today we have goal number 1 for chapter 1.5 and 1.6, okay, is add and subtract real numbers. We've combined these two sections because day 1.5 was adding numbers and day 2 was subtracting numbers. I think we're pretty good where we can add and subtract in the same day, okay? Goal number 2 is do a couple applications of addition and subtraction of real numbers. Those are going to be super easy for us. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do the hard one first, okay? I've got 5 minus a negative 3. Do you guys remember what you're supposed to do when you subtract a negative? What do we think? Riley, remember what to do when you subtract a negative? Yeah, and that's real world stuff, right? So if we had somebody negative out here on the Zoom, he's negative, and then if I have to remove him, that's a positive thing happening, right? So real life stuff. I'm going to go ahead and make these pluses. So now I have 5 plus 3, and we all know that's 8. Okay. So next one, I got negative 2 plus 7. We look at the bigger number is positive, so I know I'm going to have a positive. So I take a look, I have negative 2 plus 7, which is the same thing as 7 minus 2. And Jose, what's 7 minus 2 or negative 2 plus 7, bud?
5.
There we go. Now, the beautiful thing is if you guys are bad with these numbers, you can always use your calculator. Okay, perfect. So the next one, I have negative 6, and then I'm going to subtract 9. So I'm at negative 6. So you owe me $6, and now you want to borrow $9. Well, how much money do you owe me now? Hunter, how much do you owe me? So if you owe me $6 and you borrow $9, now you owe me 15. So negative 15. Very good. Perfect. Next. And if I'm going too fast, you guys let me know. If you can't see something, let me know. So nice job, gang. Next, we got fractions. Oh my gosh, we got fractions. The first thing that I see is I have minus a negative. Okay? And Riley said, well, let's make that a positive. So make that a positive. So now I see negative 4. You can even rewrite this if you want. Negative 4 sevenths plus 1 7th.
It's getting really blurry.
It's blurry?
Yeah, it's like I'm focusing again. Like I can see the numbers. I can see like the answers, but I can't really see the number itself.
How about if I zoom in a little bit more?
Yeah, better.
What if I go like that?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yep.
See something, say something. You can't see, Lily? I can try to fix it for us, okay? Nice job. All right. So when I have fractions, and we're going to dive more into fractions later, but we need what we call common denominators, and we have that. So now I just kind of look at the top and I say, well, what's negative 4 plus 1? And the bigger number's negative, so I'm going to have a negative. So what's negative 4 plus 1, y'all? Negative 3. And it's going to be over 7. So negative 3 sevenths. And that's it. Okay. Do you guys remember how to do use your calculator? Do we want to go through that?
Yeah.
Let's go through that. So let's grab the calc and let's do this question here. Okay. So let me get it so we can see it. So the negative is below the 3 here. You guys see that little negative sign? Okay, so if I start with a negative number, that's where I'm going to start with the negative. So I have negative 4 divided by 7. Okay? So I have negative 4 divided by 7, and then I'm going to add 1 divided by 7. Okay, I'm just using the division sign. I press enter, and I get a decimal. Do you guys know how to convert from the decimal?
Yes.
We go math. You guys see that little button math right here?
Oh, I don't have the button.
So we have math and then frac. Okay, so math frac, press enter, and it converts it to that negative 3/7. Okay, now TI-83s and 84s are required for this course. If you don't have one, then we need to get you one. Okay, so for some reason you don't have a TI-83 or 84, email me and I will send you a form. Mrs. Soffert in the front office has a bunch of them that she can lend out, kind of like lending out a book. Okay, so if you have a book and you lose it, then you got to pay for the book. Well, same thing. If you get this calculator and you lend it out and you lose it, you guys would have to pay for it. Okay. Now here's the other option. Let me grab my phone. Okay. Now I am not a hipster, so I am not cool enough to get the iPhone. All right. I have an Android phone, and I have the Wabbit Emu app. Okay, so if you have an Android, that's another option. I just click on that, and there you go. I got an actual TI-83, 84 right here on my phone, which is kind of sweet. If you have an iPhone, I believe there is something similar. Okay, just go to your Apple store and even type in TI-84 or something like that, and something might come up for you. Okay, I don't have one, so I don't know. So if you do have an Android, which not many people do, because I'm one of those boomers, right? Okay, boomer. I got Wabbit Emo. It's like you're saying rabbit, but you're Elmer Fudd, so you say you Wesley Wabbit. It's with a W. You Wesley Wabbit you. So Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, guys, was a cartoon that was on back in the 80s and 70s, and it was Wabbit Emu emulator. Why is it called that? I have no idea. All right. Any questions, y'all? Does anybody need me to walk through that one more time? Are you guys good with that? Now, here's another one. If you have does anybody have like a TI-84, like colored edition like this? Fancy one? Does anybody have one of those? Yeah. So, Hunter, here's another option. I see at least one guy. You see the alpha button? Here's alpha. Alpha y equals. And it comes up as number 1 as a fraction. Okay, number 1 is the fraction. So alpha y equals. Okay, let me get to where I can punch in. So alpha y equals number 1. And now I can type in negative 4/7 and get over using my directional pad plus alpha y equals number 1. And then it was what? 1/7? 1/7. Press enter. And we get that decimal. You can go back and do math frac if you need to. It's just another way to do it. Okay? All right. Moving on. Let me move on over to this one. If I'm going too fast, say something. All right. I have negative 42 minus 73 plus 11. This is it. There's nothing wrong. You need your calculator? Grab your calculator. You want to do this by hand? Do it by hand. What do you guys want to do? Calculator by hand? Calculator by hand. What do you want to do, Taylor? Calculator? Jimmy? Calculator by hand? Okay. You guys are no fun. Negative 42 minus 73 plus 11. Calculator does it all for you. Okay? Easy peasy. You guys want to see how to do it by hand real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if I'm doing it by hand, I'm a big fan of doing this. I would probably just grab 2 at a time and combine them. So I got 2 and 3 is 5. And negative 4, negative 7 is what? Negative 11. And now I'm at negative 115. Now I'm going to add 11. Okay? Well, now I got to see that these are different signs. So it's like I'm reducing this. So it's negative 5 plus 1 is 4. Okay? And then these are canceling, leaves me with 0, because one's a plus and one's a minus, and then I have a negative 104. Okay? The other option there is you could do 11 minus 105 like that, and you have 11 minus 5, or 115, sorry, not 105. And you can kind of go like that if you want to, okay? Either way, calculator works just fine, whatever you want to do, okay? Guys, I'm going to move on to example 2, unless you have questions. It says set up an expression and evaluate. So this is working towards goal number 2, is solving applications. This says add negative 17 to 51. Okay? So I'm going to start with 51, and I want to add negative 17 to that. So I have 51, and I want to add negative 17. So it's almost written backwards from how you read it. Okay? So 51 plus the negative 17, you can punch that in your calculator. You can do it by hand, whatever you prefer. 51 minus 17 is the exact same thing. If I'm adding a negative, it's really subtraction. So 51 minus 17, we all end up with 34. Okay. And let's do a subtraction one real quick. This one, it says I'm subtracting negative 87 from 152. So I got to know, where do I start from? Okay. Am I putting the negative 87 first or the 152? Okay. So which one do I do first? What do you think? I want to subtract negative 87 from 152. Where do I start?
152.
Yeah, it's backwards. Exactly. It's 152. That's where I'm taking the negative 187 from. So I'm going to subtract that negative 87. So I'm subtracting negative 87 from 152. When I subtract a negative, Riley says that is a positive thing. So now I can just do 152 plus 87 in my calc. And what are you guys getting? What's 152 plus 87? 239. How easy is that? Nice job, y'all. Are we good with this? Do we need to see more? Y'all good? Cole, you're good, bud? I'm getting thumbs up. All right. All right, this one says set up an equation and solve the word problems below. All right, so this is like when we start thinking about algebra here. Okay? When it says what number, I'm like a pirate and I'm always thinking X. X marks the spot. So when I see what number, I'm thinking that. Okay? So here it says, what number must be added to 35 to obtain negative 17? Okay? So let's cover this up. What number must be added to 35? That's where we just kind of worked on the last page. Okay? We're taking this number and we're adding it to that. So this is where I'm starting. I'm starting with 35. What number must be added to 35? So I wrote it 35 plus x. Some of you guys might write it as x plus 35, and that's going to be okay if it's addition. But if it's subtraction, order matters. We're going to talk about the commutative property and associative property here in a little bit, just not today, right now. So I have 35 plus x. Now, what's obtain mean? What does obtain mean, y'all? It's another word for obtain.
Your final result, or like
What's that, Lily?
it's more of like your final result, kind of like after the like original like few numbers you get. So like 17, 10 plus 10.
You're exactly right. You're trying to obtain that. You're trying to get that. You're trying to equal that. That's what you're trying to get. You're trying to have it equal. So when you see the word obtain, I want you to think of equal. So I have equal negative 17. All right, now it's been a while. We got a little algebra here. Do we know how to isolate the x? How do we get the x by itself? Do you guys have any ideas? How do I get this guy over there? How do you do that? Irene, any suggestions? How do we move this 35 over? Subtract it. So that's in a positive 35. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 35. So 35 minus 35 cancels, leaves me with the x all by itself. And now I put these together, negative 35 minus 17. You can use your calculator. You can do it by hand. And what do we get? 40, negative 52. If I'm doing it by hand, I get a 2. I put a 1 up here. And that ends up to be negative 52. Okay. Guys, I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to let you loose and get started on the homework. Okay? It says, what number? What number? I'm going to use X again. If you're a pirate, you like X or you like R? Your choice. What number must be subtracted from negative 19 to obtain 36? So if I just cover up the first part, what number must be subtracted from negative 19? That tells me the order in which I do it. Okay? I'm starting with the negative 19, and I'm subtracting the x. If you did it the other way around, the numbers are going to be wrong. Okay? Order matters with subtraction.
Negative 19 minus x equals 36.
There you go. All right, so We want to solve this guy. I'm going to go ahead and add the 19 over. Again, minus 19, do the opposite sign, so add 19. So now I got negative x equals, let me put a 1 there. So I got 36 plus 19. If you're doing it by hand, 6 plus 9 is 5, right? It's always 1 less. And then 3 plus 1 plus 1. So I got 55 is equal to negative x.
We don't want that.
We don't want that. We want x. So all we have to do, divide by negative 1 or switch the signs, and we should get x equals negative 55. Okay. Now, if you guys ever want to check your work, once you get something like this, we can always plug it in. Okay. So if I want to check it, my math lab will check it for you, and they'll tell you if you're right or wrong, but you could also do this by hand. You could plug in, and I have negative 19 minus negative 55 equal to 36, and I can see if that works out. When I subtract a negative, that's a positive, and then 55 plus negative 19 is 36. So it does check. Okay? So that's something that you can do. You don't have to. A lot of times you'll be able to do this, and it'll be no problem at all for you guys. Okay? All right, gang. I'm going to share my screen so you can see where I'm talking. Okay? So I'm going to my desktop here. Okay, so I'm back on Canvas. Okay, we just finished the chapter 1516 notes. And again, if you guys have questions, let me know. The next thing I got is right here. You're going to click on this link, 15 and 16 homework, and that's going to take you guys to the next homework assignment. Okay, so you got about 15 quick, easy questions. A lot of it's just adding, subtracting, and so on and so forth. You guys can turn off your mics. You can turn off your cameras, and let's reconvene in like 15 minutes. So at 11:25, don't exit out of Zoom because I'm going to have to let you back in. So you can just turn that stuff off, get started on 1516, and I'm going to be here. If you guys have questions, we can be more than happy to help you. Okay? All right, gang. Get started. You can turn your mics off, turn your cameras off. And there we go. So we just ended up, guys, with addition and subtraction. And now the last section we're going to do today is just multiplying and dividing. Okay, so we have chapter 17. Okay, we're going to multiply and divide real numbers. That's goal number 1. And again, if you guys can't see something, say something. The next thing we're going to do is find the reciprocal of a real number. So that might be a new word for some of y'all. And then solve applications with multiplication and division. So we're going to do some basic setting up an equation and solving today. Okay. So first thing is product means multiply. So if I have the product of two numbers, if I have the product of 2 and 3, that'd be like 2 times 3. Or 2.3. Or you might even see parentheses of that. Okay? If you guys see the word quotient, quotient means division. Okay, so again, that would be like 2 over 3. Or 2 divided by 3, like that. Okay? The dividend and divisor, if I have 2 over 3, your divisor is this guy. Okay. Next, prime numbers versus composite numbers. Do you guys know the difference between prime and composite? Do you guys remember prime, composite? Jake, you remember what a prime number is? No, Taylor, Irene, Roxanne, remember what a prime number is? Is this mic on? Hello? Anybody know what a prime number is?
A number that only has one multiple, or what is it?
One in itself. So it's a number that is divisible only by one in itself. Okay? So for an example, so I'll write that out, can only divide by one in itself. So it can only be divisible by one in itself. So for example, 1 is a prime number. Can you guys give me another one? I think I heard 7. 7 is a prime number. 3 is a prime number. Is 4 prime? 5 is a prime number. 4 is divisible by 2. Okay? So 1, 3, 5, 7 is 9. 11? Yeah. 13. What about 15? Is 15 a prime number? No. Taylor shaking her head. No, it's 5 and 3, right? It's divisible by 5 or 3. But 17 is. 19 is. ... and it keeps going. Now, there is only one even prime number. You guys know what it is? There's only one number that's even that is also prime. I think I heard it. Somebody said it. Was it Claudia? And Claudia said 2. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, ... Those are all prime numbers. Those are only divisible by 1 in itself. Okay? Versus composite. Composite is a number that can be factored or has factors. Okay, that's the opposite. So, for example, 4 is a composite number. It can be factored by 2. 6 is factored by 2 and 3. Okay.
Mr. Gotsch.
Yes.
Focused.
What's that?
It just unfocused again.
Okay.
Oh, no, there it is. Okay, never mind. It's focused.
You good?
Oh, just now not focused. Okay, it's being weird. So it unfocused again. We can see like you're writing with the pen, but just not the notes itself. Or some of it, at least.
Is that better?
I think it's still like focusing. There it is. Yeah.
Are we good?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to go through, now that we've talked a little vocab, we're going to go through and multiply numbers, divide numbers. Okay. Remember when we're looking at the signs. Okay. If we're doing multiplication and division, if the signs are the same, positive, positive, negative, negative, your answer is going to be positive. Okay. But if I have two numbers that are different, one's a plus and one's a minus, or one's a minus, one's a plus, if I multiply or divide those, then I'm going to get a negative number. Okay? Other things that are special with multiplication and division is if I have, and I'll write this bigger so you can see it, 25 times 0. Any number divided by 0 is always what, Kai? Kai, what is any number multiplied by 0?
0.
You the man. Nice job. Big old donut. And I don't know if you can read this. I'm going to write it bigger. I got 0 divided by any number. I just chose 25 because I'm 25 years old. 0 divided by, don't laugh. 0 divided by 25. If I have 0 things and I divide it into 25 groups, what is in each group? You get 0 things, and you get 0 things, and you get 0 things. 0.
0 ice creams.
0 ice creams. But if I have 25 ice creams and I want to put it into 0 groups,
Can't do it.
you can't do that. That's circle with a slash through it or undefined. Okay. If somebody has Siri, they can ask, how do you divide by 0, or what's 100 divided by 0? And then she gives you some weird answers.
Hey Siri, what's 0 divided by 0?
Imagine that you have 0 cookies, and you split them evenly among 0 friends. How many cookies does each person get? See, it doesn't make sense. And Cookie Monster is sad that there are no cookies. And you are sad that you have no friends.
Oh, Cookie Monster one. Love it. All right, guys, let's put this all in action. Again, you can use your calculator. That's totally fine. All right. Some of these you don't need your calculator. I'm going to zoom super in close. So hopefully we can see this. Can we see that? Can we see this one? Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right, I have the product or quotient. This one I have negative 10 times 6. One's a negative, one's a positive, so I have a negative. And 10 times 6 we all know is 60. So final answer is negative 60. Okay. Next one. If you have a line of 3, just cover up one of them and multiply. So now I have negative 3 times 7. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. And now times negative 1. So now I have a negative times a negative, which is a positive, and then 21. Okay? So negative times a negative is a positive. All right, next one. I have negative 81 divided by negative 9. If you prefer to write it like this, you can. Okay? So first thing I see, a negative divided by a negative, those cancel. And then we got 81 divided by 9. Cole, what do you get? 81 divided by 9. Show me your fingers. 81 divided by 9.
9.
Easy peasy. Boom. All right. You guys good with that? Last one on this page. Let me zoom out a touch. Decide whether or not the number is prime or composite. If we can find something that's divisible by, then we know that it is a composite. 12. So I have the number 12. Is 12 prime or composite?
Composite.
And I could divide that by 2 and I would get 6. I could do 3 and get 4 or anything like that. And then we just went through all the prime numbers. We know that guy is prime. 7 is only divisible by 1 in itself. Y'all have any questions? Moving on then. You guys are doing great. Next thing we need to do is prime factorization. write the prime factorization. Now, I like to do factor trees, okay? So I'm going to start with 48. So hopefully we can see we got 48 here. What do you want to divide 48 by? Give me a number that 48 is divisible by. 8 and 6. 8 times 6 is 48. So then we want to break down 8 and 6. Okay, so 8 is 2 and 4, 2 and 2. And then 6 is 2 and 3. Okay? All right, we're getting a little background noise in there, Lily. I'm going to mute you.
Sorry.
You're muted. All right, so I got 2s and a 3s. Now, all of these numbers are prime. 2s and 3s are prime, so I know I've broken those down all the way. Okay, so prime factorization, I write what I got. I got a 2. I got a 2. I got another 2. I got another 2. And I got a 3. So I've broken that down all the way. Okay, now quiz or test for me, if this wasn't my math lab, and you got to see if it will accept it, I would accept 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 to the 4th, and 3. I'm okay with that, but I'm looking at my math lab and I'm thinking they want that. Okay, so if you're doing prime factorization, that's probably what they're looking for. So that every single number that you've circled is a prime number, and if I do multiply them, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 3 is 48. So it works out. Do you guys want to see another one of that? Give me a thumbs up to move on. Give me a thumbs down. Let's see one more. I'm seeing thumbs up. Do we have any thumbs down? Everybody, show me your thumb. Thumbs that we're okay. We don't need to see that again. I don't want to waste your time. Okay? All right, I'm moving on. Okay? Reciprocal. When you think of reciprocal, think of flippy flip. We're going to flip. So I have 2 fists, and let me zoom in a touch so you can see it nice and clear, I hope. So here I have 2 fists. 2 fists, reciprocal is 5 over 2. All we're doing is taking the numerator and denominator and flipping them. So the numerator is now the denominator, and the denominator is now the numerator. Okay? If you have a whole number like 6, okay, think of that as a fraction, 6 over 1, and then flip to 1 over 6. Okay? And then last but not least, if I have what we call a mixed number. Okay? If I have a mixed number, do you remember how to change that to a improper? We take the 1 times the 4, we multiply those together, that's 4. Then you add the 3 and put it over the denominator. So 4 plus 3 is 7, and then over the denominator. We go ahead and flip that. So if you do have a mixed number, we want to flippy flip. Convert it into an improper, and then flip it. Okay? All right, so I got some quick examples here. Quick. Okay? Over here I have 6 sevenths. I need the reciprocal. Jasmine, take the reciprocal, 6 sevenths. Flippy flip, what do you get? Nice and loud? That a girl. Nice job. 7, 6. Boom. Next one. Jimmy, I got negative 24. How do you do that one?
Add 24.
So we want to do the reciprocal. So think of this as negative 24 over 1. So flippy flip. How do you flip it? What do you get?
Negative 1, 24.
That a boy. If you see reciprocal, that is the same thing as the word multiplicative inverse. So the multiplicative inverse is the same thing as the reciprocal. All right, last one. I have 3 1/2. Okay, this is, again, that mixed number. I'm going to multiply these two together. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then I'm going to add it to 1 over my denominator. Okay? So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 2. If I put 7 over 2 in my calculator, that is 3.5. Okay? Then I'm going to flippy flip that guy. The reciprocal goes to 2/7. So if I want the reciprocal, that's an arrow, flippy flip. The 2 is now on top. The 7 is now on the bottom. All right, gang, last thing. Last goal is to solve applications problems of this. Do we have any questions with reciprocal? Y'all good? I would say give me fists of 5 on where you're at, but then I would get the middle finger back for number 1. So thumbs up. Riley's smiling. All right, we're not going to do fist of 5 because I'll get the 1 back. All right. And then, Mr. Gotsch, you said fist of 5. All right, I got to zoom out to get this all in. So hopefully we can read this here. All right, last one. If you spend $5.75 each weekday for lunch in a week, how much will you end up spending? They want us to set up a basic equation here, a basic expression, and evaluate this thing. Okay? So first off, how many weekdays are there in a week?
7.
So there's 7 days in a week, right? But how many are there of weekdays or school days? Kai says 5. Okay? And then 2 days on the weekend. So every day, if you went to school every day, you're eating lunch out, you got to take that $5.75 and multiply it to 5. Okay? Now, they said set up an expression. An expression doesn't have an equal sign, so I'm not going to set it equal to X or anything. Okay? I'm just going to solve this thing. $5.75 in my calculator. You can just use this. You can try to do it by hand, but hey, we got these calculators. Let's use them. 5.75 times 5, and I got 28.75. It's, holy cow, isn't that a lot of money? Almost $30 just to eat lunch. Okay. Now, if they want a dollar sign, you got to look to see what my math lab. Dollar signs go in front, guys, not on the back. So make sure you put it in front if they're asking for a dollar sign. They might actually include the dollar sign for you all. Okay. All right, let's answer the last question. Any questions with this one? We're okay. Last one. 5 books cost $73.50, and they have the same price. How much does each book cost? Any ideas on how to figure out what the cost of each book is? Any ideas? Divide by 5. Very good. I take that $73.50. I divide by 5. You can throw that in your calc. 73.5 divided by 5. And I got 14.7. Again, when we're talking about money, always round to 2 decimal places. And we got our dollar sign. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for this section 1.7. We did 3 sections today. 1.5, 1.6, adding, subtracting, and then 1.7 is multiplication and division. Do y'all have any questions today? Before you leave, I'm going to share my screen one more time so you know where to find these homeworks. Again, I'm sharing. We just did 1.5. We should have finished that 1.5, 1.6 or pretty darn close. We just did 1.7 notes, and now we're at 1.7 homework. If I click on that, you'll see that there is not a ton of questions. I'm trying to keep the questions to 10 minutes or so for you guys to do. Okay, there's about 16 questions for you to try. All right. If you have questions, feel free to stay on. If you have homework questions, if not, you guys are free to go. You guys have a great weekend. Stay out of trouble. I'm going to stop recording here.